we met when I was still in my early 20s, and she was a student, and but we're both young, and it was never going to be the right time in that moment to take the serious step of proposal and marriage. But eventually it came, and eventually we decided that this was the life that we wanted, and that we wanted to have a life together, because we believed at the time that it was destiny, that we were meant to be together. The beautiful thing is that never changed, despite everything that happened, and the difficulties that we may have experienced, like with any couple, really, right? But there was always a certainty around what our lives will look like. And she's been there through it all. Sometimes I look at our pictures and I'm just like, what did you see in this scrawny, skinny guy who was actually looked like he hardly ate? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just that's kind of the kind of journey that we've been. She was there when I was building a career, right? She was there when I made one breakthrough to the next. Yeah. She was there when I climaxed and hit the ceiling and peaked and
okay, all right, stop.
And became who I am.
Okay, before we speak too much about your kids, I want to talk about the other love of your life, football.
Yes.
So I follow you on Twitter, obviously, and there's something you cannot shut up about, and that is couch coaching football. What is it about this game that makes you so invested and passionate?
I think it's something that has just always been a part of my life. I grew up in a family that loved football. My grandfather had a football team called City Ramblers in Soweto, because there was a generation of old timers who would have a football club and a couple of shops and very entrepreneurial. And my grandfather, Muria Ziki, was that person. He had a couple of shops around Soweto, Rockville, and Pefeni, and all of that. And he had this football club, a club that produced some well-known icons later in those people's careers, right? And then at some stage, because he had a relationship with Dr. Kaizer, right, the founder of Kaizer Chiefs. And at the time when Kaizer was starting Chiefs, he obviously, in putting the team together, would get players from different clubs, etc. And my grandfather's club was one of those clubs that almost, sprinkled a couple of players into this Kaizer Chiefs idea. So growing up in a family that, supports Kaizer Chiefs, for that reason, was just me being immersed in this world of football. As a child, I played football. I played for Marks Park Football Club. I believe it's still around, although it's changed somewhat. And there was a part of me, Jill, that actually thought I would have a career in football. Like, seriously. I
was going to ask you, did you play in school?
Yeah, I played. A-team all the way. Like, I was always in the A-team. They used to call me Shoes. Shoes. Because John Shoes Mushreu, like the legendary South African footballer, was at the time part of this unbelievable Bafana team with Dr. Khumalo and Neil Tovey and Mark Fish and Lucas Radebe and all those icons that lifted that AFCON trophy, right? So a lot of the kids were inspired. I mean, I remember even at school, I went to Cliffview Primary School, and even in this predominantly white school, there were kids that were like, oh, Mark Fish, Neil Tovey, Shoes Musho, Dr. Khumalo, etc. So Shoes was like a nickname that was given because I was actually damn good.
So do you think you could have had a career in football?
So I remember going to trials. They were having trials. I think it was for Orlando Pirates, and this is sort of maybe under 12, under 13. And when I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many brilliant footballers out there that I'm nowhere at the level that these other guys were at. And I think that was quite like a like an eye opener to say, okay, maybe you're not as good as you may be good in the suburbs, but out there are kids that are better than you. But I still carried on playing, and one of the most heartbreaking things was when I got to high school. They didn't have football at Northcliffe High. It was rugby, cricket, hockey, which is all good and well. But there were a bunch of us who really wanted to play football and have football in the school. And the school was just like not having it. And it was heartbreaking for me because I thought to myself, I know for a fact that if the school had football as part of its extramural activity, people would sign up. Probably more than they would for the rugby. You know what I'm saying? Across the racial lines. But the school just felt, nah, this football thing, nah. And I thought it was unfair because, you almost, for 8 hours of your day, are pulled away from this thing, the sport that you love so much, because the school doesn't have it. And it just didn't make sense to me. And I feel like that's the one big travesty when you talk about development in South Africa, that the well-resourced schools, the schools with the resources, the private schools, the well-run government schools, don't do enough to give football an opportunity to exist within the schools for all types of reasons, which have been well documented. But there's also a huge push in the private schools for this rugby sport, which is great. But when a school is resourced in the way that some of these schools are, that have multiple sports, I think that football can slot right in there. There are a lot of kids that want to play football. But as an adult, I play socially. I managed to put together a smaller than a team, Flavor 11, just a bunch of old lads trying to kick around after a heavy night of drinking.
Pull a little hammy.
Yeah. But I mean, when you talk about being a couch coach, football has, to me, been more than just about the sport. It's also been about life. There's so much that you learn from a football player's journey. Hard work, patience, waiting your turn, the injuries, having to recover, deal with pain, disappointment, rejection, or you're too old now, or you're no longer good, you've lost your juice. Those are things that we experience in life in general. Things I've learned from coaches about, life and, the philosophies they use and the mindset they have towards life. Football is more than just, a sport with people kicking the ball around. It's almost like a reflection of life on so many levels. And that's why, yeah.
Without going too like far deep into it, my son's school in Cape Town doesn't offer football.
Why?
Because rugby's the religion down there. And I can't remember who I was talking to. It was somebody just the other day. You said they came down to Cape Town and it was just so weird. Like, rugby's like this, like religious, like cult. And it is. And I'm listening to you and I'm following because nothing much has changed.
The interesting thing is that I remember I was at my daughter's graduation from preschool to sort of grade 1. And they were asking the kids at the graduation on stage, what they want to be one day. So many kids that spoke about being athletes one day said they want to be football players. It didn't matter, whether they were black, white, whatever. And that for me says that kids love the sport because some of their icons, some of their heroes are footballers. But some schools are reluctant. And I don't know if football would even threaten the talent pool for rugby. We have 60 million people in the country, majority are youth. Surely, with the resources that we have, even from 30 of the best, most resource schools, we can unearth the most unbelievable football talent that can not only make our local league amazing, but also go out there in other leagues in Europe, for example, and shine. So I hope that changes one day. I really hope that football becomes a bigger part of a lot of the private schools. Some do have it, and that's great, but I think there's a resistance in some spaces.